Hello Chain Gang, and welcome back to the 4 Chains Travel. Today's video is all about why we decided to try retirement travel. This video is one that we've been subconsciously thinking about for about 35 years, but over the past year it's taken on more significant meaning as we've decided to really make this a reality.
Yeah, I mean, when we're growing up, you always dream about being rich, and I'm no different than that. We aren't. But to me, being rich was never about the cars or the houses. It was always about traveling the world, retiring early and traveling the world. Well, what if, gosh darn it, you're not rich? What if you don't have this awesome pension? What if you don't have a rich uncle that's going to leave you $5 million? What if I told you none of that matters, you in your financial situation now, or a financial situation you can work to very easily, quicker than you think? What if you could travel the world in your retirement? You know, a lot of people who have clicked on this video already understand the concept. You understand what retirement travel is, or some people call it slow travel. But I'm just gonna, for the rest of you, I'm gonna tell you, it is when you sell or severely downsize your home and sell your car and all your possessions, and you use that money, that equity, to finance traveling the world full time.
And those people and we will still have a home, maybe not necessarily a house in a particular area, but we live in Northern Virginia, and this is where most of our family and friends are and where we spent most of our lives. So we'll always call this area home. Whether or not we own property here, that will be kind of insignificant. So there are varying ways to do that. Some people sell it all. A lot of people sell it all, and we feel like that's probably the way to go because it's what affords many people to be able to do this in the first place. Because when you think about vacation travel, many people think of vacationing as opposed to living somewhere else. Vacationing can be very expensive, as opposed to if you decide to settle down in a place and stay there for, say, a month, 2 months, maybe 3 months at a time. That can make the experience radically different, both from a financial perspective as well as your experience. Because when you decide to do it slowly or stay in a place for an extended period of time, your accommodation can be less expensive. You can really control your food costs a lot more. It also has the great advantage of really immersing yourself in the culture that you're visiting. That's the main reason why we've decided to do this. We've had some experience with it, and we feel like we just want to keep going with this lifestyle.
Yeah, I guess we'll take you back. Angie and I have been friends since 9th grade.
Just friends.
Just friends.
At that point.
Of course, I always wanted more, but 35 years ago, our relationship became more than friends, and it started with travel and experiencing other cultures. The mean way to put it might be that I use travel and experiences as a desperate way to move her from the friend zone to being my girlfriend.
It worked. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it wound up working out for me. For me, it is.
So, a long time ago, in the early 90s, we were both working on his dad's first congressional campaign. I was still in college. It was about 9 months from the election, and Jim pitched this idea. Again, we were still friends at this, only friends. Jim pitched this idea that we go to the beach just for a little break. So I thought when he said, let's go to the beach, he meant to drive to the closest beach, or, you know, we have a lot of beaches in this area available to us. So it didn't really cross my mind that it could be anything not like that, because at this point I had never even been on a plane before. Again, I'm still in college. This was decades ago, and we were still just friends. So when he took me to the travel agent.
But keep in mind, I pretended I was going to this travel agent for the first time when in fact I'd been there the previous day and spent a couple of hours planning all of this out.
So he's a schemer. And I had no idea when we walked into the travel agent that we were going to end up booking a trip to Grand Cayman. So
the Grand Cayman of before the movie The Firm, there were like 3 hotels. All I wanted to know is, what is the most romantic island? What are the places where possibly we could have a large period of beach for ourselves?
Yeah.
I think Grand Cayman's gone from 3 hotels to 300.
I'm sure the hotel we stayed in doesn't even exist anymore.
But your second plane ride was coming right at the end of the campaign.
Yeah, election was won, and as a bonus for our hard work, we got to go on a trip to the Bahamas.
Yes.
Which I still thought was great. Now it is
not so much.
It is a downgrade coming from Grand Cayman to the Bahamas, but I still thoroughly loved it. I am all about that Caribbean water. I love the sun. Love being warm. So all of that worked for me.
Yes,
I was hooked.
You know, I said I didn't like the Bahamas, but if you're going to Atlantis to play the GG Poker World Series of Poker in Paradise, that would definitely be an awesome stay. And I'm not just saying that because they pay me to do so.
Yes, you are, and they do.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So moving on. At this time, Jim worked for Domino's Pizza.
Well, this was my idea. I really wanted to win Supervisor of the Year because I am very vain. Sorry, I hit the mic there. And so I pitched that. We'll skip vacation this year. And then the way I pitched it was next year, we had 2 daughters by that point.
Right.
So I said, okay, all 4 of us will go to Italy. All I cared about was winning. I figured I'd do the most luxurious possible situation I could possibly pitch, and she agreed to it.
What we did was, our girls were at this point in middle school, as we said. We decided to spend a year kind of learning the language and figuring out what we wanted to experience in Italy and what we wanted to expose our kids to culturally.
How you take your vacations does make a difference. Mm-hmm. And then YouTube happened.
Right.
And we started videotaping our experiences, not to make money or as a job, but because we wanted keepsakes. What's better than a picture of your vacation? A video of your vacation.
Right.
And then we have friends who aren't fortunate enough to be able to take vacations like this. What better way to show them than to show them a video? And we liked making videos. We just basically videoed all kinds of stuff, the poker stuff, work stuff, everything. And we had no clue what we were doing, but then we got a few subscribers and a few views, right?
Yeah, we did. I mean, we made a rookie mistake in terms of YouTube, like many, many people do, which was we just threw everything in the kitchen sink and made a video about it, and that was our channel. But we did, over time, accumulate over 10,000 subscribers.
At the end, we had over 1.5 million views a month. So let me just say this. I'll give you the premise as to why we decided to get rid of that channel and go to just this channel about travel. And there were 2 game-changing vacations that changed it.
Yeah.
The first one was the Mexico $40 a day one. You want to explain what happened there?
Yeah, so we decided to go to Mexico. We were going to start in Cancun since we were familiar with that. And then we were just going to travel down the coast in the Riviera Maya. So we stayed in Puerto Morelos, Mexico, which if you're not familiar with that, it's just south of Cancun, about 30 minutes or so. And there are 2 sides there. There's La Playa, which means the beach, and there's La Colonia, which is where the locals live, and it's a little bit inland from the beach. So we chose a very inexpensive accommodation in La Colonia, where we were able to really immerse ourselves in the neighborhood, the supermarkets. We figured out the local transportation, the great local places to eat, which were much less expensive
but so
than
good.
The touristy areas. Yeah, so good. And it was just a fantastic experience doing that and staying in that area. And we weren't rushed. We were there, we knew for a while. So we were able to really take our time and do those things. From there, we headed south a little bit further and we stayed in Akumal, Mexico, where we were able to swim with the sea turtles and walk to dinner and back every night at sunset. Again, have just very leisurely, slow meals and wonderful walks, amazing weather, beautiful water, and really get to know the area.
He's got Vince, do you have a washer? You do? Okay. You know what? Vince Gill has a washer and dryer, and he won't let us use it, so we're just going to do this. Yeah, I don't want you to think, our accommodation, I think we're like $22 or $23 a day, but I don't want you to think we were denying ourselves stuff. That doesn't sound fun.
No.
We did ATV, we did a zip line, we did cenotes, we did massages on the beach.
A private snorkel tour.
Yeah,
private
snorkel
2 of us tour. And just the boat captain. That was amazing.
Yeah, and going out and seeing the sea turtles during Macy's, it was just incredible. Yeah. And then we had another, probably even more game-changing trip to Italy. We'd been 5 or 6 times, and this extended period of time, we just decided that we would eat with we would spend time with, and we would stay with Italians, as opposed to tourists that or spend time with tourists that are in Italy doing tourist things. You should do tourist things. Like, for instance, we stayed in Salerno instead of Amalfi or Positano when we went because we wanted to see the Amalfi Coast. You should see, and we did take the ferry, and we did see those things. But the really gratifying experience of time was spending time with the locals, spending 3-4 hours at a meal, talking with them. It was just amazing. If you have not been to Italy, you might be confused, think Jimmy Kimmel's a kook because he took millions of dollars less on his last contract in an agreement that he could spend every summer in Italy. You might think Daniel Day-Lewis is a kook because he gave up $15 million a movie to move from LA and works in a shoe shop in Italy now. He only just recently, after 8 or 9 years, is now going to do one more movie, but he's going to be back in Italy. If you've been to Italy and you've spent time the way we have, you understand why they did that.
Yeah, and I feel like our extended trip in Mexico really set us up for that type of trip in Italy, where we stayed in Salerno and just day tripped in to the more touristy locations, but still allowed us to have these experiences where we ate dinner with the chef that cooked our food and had leisurely, long, as he said, discussions with locals who filtered in after us, because we were always there as soon as the doors opened to eat. They eat dinner much later in Italy. But we just had really amazing time with locals and getting to know the culture, the food, the music, just the geography, so many things about the area that were interesting.
That type of trip is less expensive and far more gratifying, and that's the kind of trip we want to replicate full-time now. Yeah. Our original Four Chains channel had the tag "Life is not a dress rehearsal," and
because life isn't a dress rehearsal.
No, it is not. You get one shot at this. It says it. If you can see it on the back of her, you might want to get up there. Okay.
I don't know if we can see it.
All right. Well, it is scary to go from over 10,000 subscribers and way over 1 million views a month to 0 subscribers and 0 views. So, yeah, actually subscribe to this one if you're one of the for the old subscribe. Channel. Please do. But we're looking to really play this long term. We want to do the things that are on everybody's bucket list before we are no longer able to do it.
Right. And that brings us to one of the ways that I got into this was watching videos of other people doing it. And the Retirement Travelers is one of those couples. And they have a saying that we've really kind of taken to heart. We've seen this happen to several couples that we know where they have gotten to the age where they can retire and do travel, but then they've had a health situation and that has not enabled them to be able to do it. And in fact, I haven't run this by Jim, but I really want to dedicate this episode to a coworker of mine who just passed away this week. She and her husband were doing this exact thing. They've traveled all over, and I'm so glad that she got to do that before she passed this week. But going back to the Retirement Travelers, they say that you have your go-go years, which you're able to do stuff and travel and do the tours and climb the hikes, all of those things. And then you have your slow-go years where you start to slow down and you can do less of those things. And then ultimately you have your no-go years where you are living in one place and not traveling anywhere because you do have health things come up.
I'm going to try to find a photo and put it in here, the no-go years. There's some people in their no-go years visiting Venice. If you may have probably seen it on other sites before.
My 99-year-old grandmother who lives down the street from us still walks up here every day, and she's definitely in her no-go years. So I want to make sure that while I'm still barely in my go-go years, I'm able to do these things so that when I get to that point, I don't have regrets.
Yeah. So I would say that this is a journey that we are going to teach you how to do, that we want you to experience us. We want a community. We want communication.
And we want you to do this journey with us. We want you to see it from the very beginning, and that's why we're putting out this exact video.
So thank you to everybody that has been following our Italy and Mexico and Vegas and all those other videos. We appreciate it. Now it's time to reap the rewards and go on that journey, because we have figured out that we can travel the world and be better off financially than if we were just sitting at home hoping our money does not run out. And this is a tough choice for you to make.
This was very hard for me because I am a lot more risk averse than he is. And so, you know, I'm more financially cautious, and I never would have agreed to try this without doing a ton of research and kind of dotting the I's and crossing the T's and thinking that it's really a possibility, because, you know, you are giving up some things. You're giving up, in a lot of cases, a lot of material possessions and things you've had for a long time. We've already downsized so much that I think it's easier, you know, for us, although when you live in a place for any period of time, like, we just keep accumulating this. So
that'll be another video.
That's another video
on
for another
Swedish
day.
death cleaning. Yeah.
So we decided to try this out after a lot of research.
I promise you, she would never, ever, ever do this on a whim. Me, if she would have said to me, hey, let's sell all our stuff and travel the world, that would have been fine. That would have been enough for me, and I would have figured it out as I'm going on. Life should be lived. That's why it's called life, not just survive. You need to thrive, not just exist. Here's a message I think that any of my past employees would be very relieved, but also surprised to hear me say. I spent 30 years working for Domino's Pizza. I worked probably an average of 65 hours a week or so. There were certainly some years in there where I averaged considerably more than that.
Yep.
Angie worked very hard. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. When I was growing up, my only goal, because I didn't have this luxury, was to be able to put my children through college. And we were able to do that and have some great experiences along the way, as we've alluded to. But the idea of just continuing to work until I'm not physically or mentally able, and then just existing off our savings, that doesn't sound good, because so far getting old, I don't know.
It sucks. Getting old sucks. And how much it sucks depends upon a few things. And some of those things are your diet, your exercise, taking care of mental health things. And even if you do all of that stuff, you're still eventually going to go from your go-go years to your slow-go years to your no-go years. Because one thing that's for sure, as LeBron James says, is that Father Time is undefeated.
Undefeated, man. And that's why we're not attaching age ranges to these stages of life. So, and you can rage against the dying of the light to extend those go-go years. And we're trying to do that. But before I leave those, I want to climb the Rock of Gibraltar. I want to see the monkeys, What? We watched that video, those monkeys.
I was more excited about that part of the journey before I saw Chimp Crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, I hope it doesn't rip my face off. But well, even if we don't do the Rock of Gibraltar, which I want to do, I want to do the Cinque Terre hikes. I want to stay in a cave in Matera. I want to climb the Tower of London. I want to go to Santa Claus's tomb in Bari, Italy.
He still believes in Santa Claus.
Santa Claus, I'm going to edit that out, because Santa Claus is real.
Yep.
And I had 2 daughters. I never once wrapped a gift and said, this is from Santa.
That's true. You never did.
Every year there were
once.
Gifts from Santa.
There were.
That's all I got to say about that.
Yep.
So I didn't want the result for all of our work to be just existing. And here's something that a lot of retirement travelers videos don't like talking about, and I understand it, which is eventually you're not going to be able to continue traveling. You have to settle down at some point. And this retirement travel is essentially going to be a search for that place. We're going to spend at least 5 or 6 years. I mean, I guess it could be 10 if we really can take care of ourselves. But searching the world, what is a culture that we don't want to just visit for 1 to 3 months? What's a culture that we want to spend the rest of our lives with? It could be the United States. It could be something else. We have no way of knowing. Nobody knows. You can guess. You can say what you would want. But until you experience that culture, you really have no idea, right?
That's right. I mean, I would assume that we will do this travel until, we just get,
until the wheels
until
come
we
off,
get
baby.
old enough where it's becoming physically hard and we're not enjoying it. We may end up, back in the United States as our place to settle down. Maybe we'll have grandkids at that point, so we'll, want to be close by. Maybe we'll have parents that are needing care. We don't know what's going to happen, so it may be here. But we also will have other areas that it could be depending on our experiences during this travel.
And more importantly, like we say, we are inviting you on this journey. You're going to know where we're going to be. We're going to publish to our communities.
We want your comments. We want your ideas.
Absolutely.
And we want your help if you've also done this.
We're going to tell you in advance where we're going, the places we're going, when we're going there, where we're staying. If you want to watch along, great. If you want to show up, let us know. If we could do a meetup in every single place, we would certainly be okay with that.
That would be awesome.
Right?
Yep. We love hanging out with each other and we love hanging out with other people. So we would definitely welcome that.
Yeah. I mean, I had a great experience. We trial ballooned that. I won a tournament for $50 to play the main event at the World Series of Poker. And I let people know I was going to be there. And not many showed up, but some did. And it was just such a wonderful experience to me having them on my rail. And it was just, I don't know, they were embarrassed to ask for pictures. I was thrilled, and they were surprised we hugged, and it was just a great experience. So
you can watch those videos.
Well, of course I'm showing.
Aces?
No, I don't have aces. You folded. It's over, right? Yes, of course. I had the nuts. I don't want to. Yeah, please watch the videos. Don't want to tell you how I did, but there's a lot of videos on there, right?
It's paying for our 2025 travels.
Absolutely.
This is what a million chips looks like. The main event, the World Series of Poker.
The videos.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. Life is not a dress rehearsal, so now you know why. Our next video next week is going to be how this works financially. If you decide to do this, or if you've already decided, you already know, none of your friends or parents will ever understand this. So hopefully we can spell it out in a video so you're going to be able to understand it yourselves, but also explain it to people who are like, what? How could you afford to do that?
No.
I'll just tell you the categories. You're eliminating all the costs that are associated with living in a house and having a car and driving that car and
insurance,
and being
real
in that
estate
area.
taxes.
It goes on and on. You need to understand how to maximize the money that comes when you sell your car, sell your stuff, sell your house, what to do with that money so that money can finance your lifestyle. Angie's specialty, realizing the maximum with credit card points and
points
offers.
and miles, baby.
Oh my God. This is the points and miles genius here. You're definitely going to learn how to maximize that from her.
I am not the points and miles genius, but I have invested a ton of time researching it, and I'm still definitely learning a lot on that front,
yeah, if there was a degree for studying passive income and credit card offers, she would have a master's. It's important to understand the places.
Should be a major. That should be a college major.
Should be, right? You need to understand where is a far less cost of living than the United States, and when to visit those places, when to spend time with those places. Yeah. And then also taking advantage of what Angie alluded to earlier, which is the difference between vacation travel and slow retirement, cultural immersion travel, right?
Right.
So next week we're going to do that video, and hopefully you're going to be able to use that, and we will see you next time on
The Four Chains.
The Four Chains Travel.